Okay, so tell me a little bit about That's the Mom and Me. How did it come about, get started?
Sure. Well, it kind of started because I felt like I was working full time and I was parenting three kids and I was doing none of it well. And I felt very alone. And I decided to start my own company where I could support other parents kind of in this journey of normalizing what it meant to attend to the pressures, but instead like shifting from that pressure of am I getting it right to do I feel connected and am I listening to my values? And so that's the mom and me kind of came from this space of purely just lost and overwhelmed and wanting to make meaning out of it.
Mm-hmm. What sorts of things do you do like at That's the Mom and Me? What sorts of, I know, I understand it's like coaching. Is that correct?
Sure, and it's actually shifted a little bit. So I was doing some coaching. I have three children and one of my children is neurodivergent. So I was doing some different coaching with parents of neurodivergent kids and I was just doing some coaching in parenting in general. And then I felt like there was an element missing. So right now I do therapy. So I offer therapy for parents and adults 18 and up managing anxiety, ADHD symptoms, um, make trying to get life to feel like a space where they are really engaging what feels good to them versus all of the shoulds. So I do probably a little bit more therapy right now. But before I had That's the Mom and Me, I was a school psychologist for 12 years.
Mm, that's cool.
Mhm.
So, like, what sorts of stakeholders do you work with closely?
So right now, there's not. I usually parents. I might work with speech pathologist. I might work with occupational therapist at times. I have an occupational therapist that I love. She has a company called Integrated You, and she does a lot of work with mind, body, and the nervous system. And so I work with her a lot. And sometimes it's just pediatricians.
Mm-hmm. My next question is, what impact does, That's the Mom and Me have on like first-time mothers who have a child with a disability, um, and just kind of the greater community in general? Start with the first part.
Okay, all right. So first time mothers, what kind of impact I we have? Well, I would say right now it's very like I would say for me, part of it is meeting the parent where they're at and having the focus be on connection with the child versus because sometimes I think as parents, we get lost in all of the diagnoses and our anxiety around that and all the needs for different supports and reminding them at this core central place what it feels like to just connect with this child or this human in front of us. So I feel like that's a lot of times the work that I do, how to alleviate and reduce some of the anxieties and just exist in a space where you're connected with your child. I feel like connection is one of the most important things we can do in terms of parent child relationship. It just develops a very healthy attachment, and that's kind of at the core.
Mm-hmm.
I do a lot of I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. What were you
Oh, no,
gonna say? Sorry.
no, you're fine. And in terms of like the greater community, right now I don't do it's a very small like practice, so I don't do a ton with the greater community, but my hope is that I've been doing more networking to understand what resources are out there so that I can support this message within the community.
Mm-hmm. My last question, I guess, is what can be done to create an inclusive and welcoming environment for people with disabilities, but also mothers or caregivers, who are, taking care of their child.
Oh my gosh, that's such a good question. That just brought up feelings for me when you asked that. Because I think sometimes as a parent, like it's a lonely place to be because you see how amazing and unique and cool your kid is. And sometimes just because it doesn't look just because the picture looks different than what communities are accustomed to, it's So sorry, I'm kind of like, I got lost for a second because I was having feelings about that question. So good. I think for me, well, actually, could you repeat that one more time? I'm sorry, I kind of got lost.
Yeah, my question was, what can be done to include an inclusive and welcoming environment for not just people with disabilities, but also, the
Mom.
mothers and caregivers, because they're also part of the
Yeah.
child, like, like they're also a part of, they're kind of the support system in making sure that the child, has whatever they need to be successful. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I guess to answer that question, I would say that starting in the home, and I feel like a lot of this starts in the home in terms of how we can make that effect within the community, and being a parent or a neighbor and having other parents around you who have children who are neurodiverse or children with a range of disability, and supporting them just parent to parent, just and in a way that is like inclusive and connective, like play dates or having individuals over of all abilities to your house. I think that knowing that this is just a related practice just as a parent versus it being a parent of a child with a disability or a parent of a child who is neurotypical, that we're parents. And then I also kind of feel like um, for me, part of it in the professional sense has been to see beyond the pathology or beyond the diagnosis that sometimes is so apparent in our system, and instead looking at what is the strength based here, like what is beautiful about this profile, like what is unique in about this person in front of me, and getting to know that versus the diagnosis can be helpful and useful for advocacy work, but I also feel like they can limit our understanding of the uniqueness of a person,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, no, totally, totally, it totally does.
Yeah. So I feel like sometimes when I have parents that I work with, a lot of it for me is helping them understand that your child is not their diagnosis. Your child is not the disability. Like these are things that can help us advocate for our children, but we're not going to lose sight of this amazing human in front of, like, this really cool person in front of us.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That is 100% true. Yeah. Mhm.
Yes. Like it's because then you miss out like on some of the best parts of this experience as a parent.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you totally do, and you want to make sure to really capture that. Yeah. Capture those tiny little moments with your child.
Yeah, like, and have fun and laugh. It can
Yeah.
be scary and there can be a lot of anxiety in this space, but really, like, there's so much like yumminess and fun and silliness. And it's just, yeah, I like to remind parents of that.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Not a worry, but behind all of the worry, like, let's not let the worry trump our ability to enjoy our children.
Yeah, that would be like a good quote, honestly. That's a good quote.
Good.